Welcome back, everyone.
A nitrous-fed stick-shift Ranger.
So we're back from sick summer. What is this? This is Sunday, probably nearing noon o'clock. What's it say? 11:10 on Sunday. We got in late last night, somewhere around 10:30. Had to look for Megan's cat. It's kind of cool because the cat's been lost for 10 days, and she had Nick, well, because he stayed here, go get some cameras, some of those game cameras, and they set them up around the house. And on the way in last night, a couple hours out, she was getting notifications on her phone, and she could see her cat Indy on the front porch eating. So they had food out and a litter box out for her. And when we got home, Nick had looked around just before we pulled in and couldn't find her, but when we got home, Meg basically went right to her. So after 10 days.
Well, she had told Mika to get the cat when we got home. Mika took off around the house. She actually must have seen Indy. And it was cool. Her and Meg found it together.
Mika's a pretty good dog, and Indy's a pretty good cat. So we're glad to have our cat back. We're back from our trip. We're getting ready to put the 55 in the shop, and I'll talk a little bit about our sick summer. It's really hard because there's sick week and drag week and sick summer. We forget what race we're doing, but this was sick summer. So sick week is in Florida, sick summer's up in where we were at, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and we really enjoyed the time. The car was a little cantankerous, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So follow along as we unload this thing, get it on the lift, and basically I'm going to be getting it ready for, well, we got a test session coming up that I'm really excited about. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I'm going to get it ready for the test session. I've got some good ideas on how to improve some stuff. That's a constant part of our operation, is improving things. So on these trips home, I have plenty of time to think about it, and I've come up with some really good ideas that I think is going to make this car work, and we're just going to get faster because it's getting faster. So let's get this thing unloaded. Wow, what a week. Kind of good to be home.
I don't get to be home. I have to leave.
Yeah.
In like 3 hours.
Sucks to be you. Oh, you're leaving today?
Yeah, that's why I gotta. We got to go. I got 3 hours till the plane leaves.
Wow, let's get this done. So you may notice that the car is backed into the trailer. A lot of people do. A lot of people give me their comments on why we shouldn't back it into the trailer for weight distribution, etc. Well, believe me, the thing needs to be backed into the trailer. We have had to stop on the road and turn it around to make the trailer work right on the highway, you know, when we're driving at speed. we've got a trailer in the front of the car, inside the trailer, that adds 2,000 pounds. We just weighed it. You'll see that here in just a little bit. But our trailer that we pull behind this car came in at 1,969 pounds. So when you put that on the tongue of the big trailer, and then you pull the car in, the engine is just way too heavy. Everything is in front of the axles on the trailer. The tongue weight on the car trailer is just over the top. So the car's backed in for that reason, and it distributes the weight very well. It makes the trip very pleasurable. But I have to loosen the wheelie bars or drop the wheelie bars once we get in the trailer, because they actually physically back under the little trailer. We're so tight on clearance in there. So when we pull it out, I was raising the bars up and putting the pins in it and getting them back to where you see them here, which is the high mounting point on the wheelie bars. We don't race with them there, but that's what I was doing, and now we're pulling it on the lift.
I wanted to stop right here.
It decided that?
Yeah.
It was tired?
Yeah, you know, it's a good time when you're pulling the car in under its own power after a week of racing.
So what we do is we take the front cap off before we put it on the lift. So the front cap on this thing's super easy to get off. It just makes this car such a pleasure to work on. We just pop a couple connectors there. Alex did this wiring years ago. And watch this. You saw it. Only 2 connectors on the wire, and this is how we take the front cap off. And it always works.
If you just want to work on it and not have to take it off, because there's a lot of cars that the front cap comes off, then you just tilt it up.
Yep.
Great.
So like you saw, when we just want to check it out, we usually take it off to prepare it for a race, because it's just easier to get around. And if I have to jack the car up, I like the cap being off, because I put the front jack right here. We have stands that go under both frames. We have stands that go under the back. We can take everything apart, but it's just so easy. And this 2-post lift has become the home of the 55 Chevy. It literally lives on this lift. Maybe not being worked on all the time, but as you can see, the shop is so tight and cluttered that I just don't like moving it off just to put another car on for a few minutes to do some work. So either they don't get on the lift, or now I have the new rear shop lift. So it's the home of the Range Rover, at least for now. Hopefully we can get that done pretty soon. But this is what we do to get it on this lift, you know, because the 55 is low. Once we get it positioned, and I always put that driver's front tire just in front of the yellow stop that you see on the ground there. It should be technically on top of it, but it's never worked out balance-wise. So we put it in front, jack the front up, and the rear, we use the short pad. You see that yellow pad there? You can flip either the tall one up, which is like 6 inches, or the short one up. We use the short one on the back, like you see there. I'm trying to do this one-handed, and we needed to go up just a little bit more. But we use the short one on the back and the long ones on the front, because the bars are in different positions on the chassis, and it levels the car out perfectly. So once we get those set, we just raise the hoist, and it raises the car up.
Okay. That should be good.
Make sure you're not on those wires there.
Yeah, that should be good.
Hill, but I think we can push it.
We can call Nick over, too. You want me to get Nick to come?
Yeah, where's he at?
He's out back.
Yeah, probably be good. Okay, so one of the problems, we really just need more trailers. Yeah, so that is the bolt off of our, let's see, safety chains. Yeah, I got to wash that next. Something was put up there and drug across it.
If you could have a pretty good game plan, that would make back there a lot more organized and cool.
Good.
I'll tell you that.
So while we've been gone, Nick's been hauling my scrap metal and old cars and junk off that I've accumulated out back. It's not as much as it may sound like, but anything's a lot.
There's a lot.
No, there's a lot of people that have 50 tons.
You're right.
Think
You're
about
right.
if you were hauling Chad's off.
Oh, Chad's can't be hauled off.
Have more room than he has.
Instead of a week, no, you don't understand. We've hauled mountains of scrap metal off. That's just the accumulation over the
I think
past.
it was just the heavy stuff that was left. Like the big boy stuff. Okay, that thing needs to come out. So I got a new canopy from Peak because when we were in Chicago at our race, a windstorm came out of nowhere and destroyed my Mickey Thompson canopy and our Peak canopy. So Peak has replaced it. Mickey Thompson, it didn't destroy the Mickey Thompson one. Dad can sew it.
I got to sew that up.
He can sew that. Okay.
All right, we ready?
Well, do you want Nick back there and me up? We need that tire out. He can get that out real quick. You say that, Nick. Will you get that tire out? And then, Dad, what did you just say? Because it's a good point.
So you can see up front there, the tongue of the race trailer, the race car trailer, is all the way to the front of the race car trailer.
There's
and-
like 3 finger wide.
Between the back of the little trailer and the back of the 55, there's only 2 or 3 feet. So this thing's packed in here. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. It has to be just right. And unfortunately, the day that I'm going to really hate this is when we have a flat or we have a problem. Before we left, I took the tools out of the little trailer that would change the tires on this big trailer. But on the way back, you get in a hurry and I forgot them. So you can see that there's no opening to doors. We would have to unload everything on the road if we were to need tools or anything out of here.
True.
It would be a mess. And
Okay, Nick, will you lift this up and I can flip that?
is there another strap on it?
No, it's got the tongue, the thing.
Oh, I thought we just flipped over that.
Okay.
You'll have to push because I can't really pull. Where is it? I could bust it right there if I stepped in the oil.
An invention this time. What?
Oil?
I just found the oil. Hold on, my feeder.
I got the trailer.
Well, you're going to be right in it, Nick, so
Okay.
when you get back here, I'll hold it back.
Yeah, it's all right there.
Keep going. My arms are about to pull out of the sockets.
So a new invention we have is this. Dad put a caster on the front and a board right here. Because before we were having to
go.
he'd have to lift the tongue. It didn't roll. Have to lift the tongue while 2 people pushed. Well, Aaron was there. Anyways, 2
Okay,
people.
so you know
can load it
what?
now.
Let's weigh this thing. Everybody's always wanting to know what this weighs, and I don't have a clue. We're going to find out.
I don't know that I want you to know.
Here, come get these.
Okay, let's take a guess. I'm going to say 2,300.
It's 2,000. Wait just a sec. I'm trying. Okay, that worked.
1345.
Wow, you're underweighting.
Okay, put your foot on that one, please. Okay, let up.
I feel like we're on Wheel of Fortune.
$1, Bob. That's private right.
Okay, let's grab a jack. We got to jack the axle up to put them under there. Okay, you can hold that out and film it as we set it down on the plates.
Tired of jacking stuff up. More?
Yep. One more.
Good?
Yep.
Before you put it on there, let me set this down on the
You have to push your jack down probably. Now we don't want it to roll off like the cars have done before. So Nick, you might hold it to keep it from rolling back. I don't think you're tight. $1969.
Really? Huh, what a number.
That's even one of my favorite numbers.
The year the man walked on the moon.
And the year that I remember 1969 so well, unfortunately, it was the year my brother was killed. That's what makes it so memorable and miserable. But there's a lot of good memories in there. So it just changed to 68. Not a big fan of 68. But 69, yeah, you just give it a pound. All right, so there's your answer. There's a lot of weight right there, and it's miserable.
So you're telling me I can put more stuff in there?
No. There's no room for more stuff. All right, let's take this off, raise it up, and I'll get that out. I'm glad to have that documented.
Can you just back it down?
I didn't really want to, but kind of hard on load cells. I have a scale background too. So one of the few jobs I've ever had, besides being self-employed, was worked for a scale company back in the early 80s. So like 80, I don't remember, 82 to 80, no, maybe 80. It'd probably been 85 to 87 because we met in 87, I think. So I was working for a local guy here, he had a scale company. He did everything from little gram scales with doors so the wind, your breathing wouldn't, change the scale to train scales. We had scales on train tracks and lots of truck scales, lots of factory scales, forklift scales, everything. So that was one, and that was actually a pretty cool job. We would travel all over Oklahoma and Arkansas, out in the fields where they grow corn or whatever, and the scales that they would weigh that stuff on out in the fields where women are shucking corn or whatever they're doing and putting them in boxes. And pickles, yeah, Atkins pickles back in those days, but Planters peanuts, I mean everything. We went where they made carbide tooling for lathes and mills, and we just had every kind of scale in the world. So I went to school for it, and we had our own airstrip just a couple miles from here, grass strip, and we had 2 Cessna airplanes. And I went all the way to the point of all I needed was my written. I just had to do my written, but I lost interest in flying. It just became boring to me. I had all my hours. I had my solos, all that stuff. I just didn't feel like going on. It just had no place in my life. And I decided I was through with scales. I've stuck it out for a long time, for a couple years, and it was really kind of monotonous after a while. And some promises were made and not kept. So I left and opened my own business, and guess what? I'm still here. My boss from those days, he came in one time when I just had this front building. He stood right about here, and he said, I just don't know why you think you're ever going to make it with cars. You're never going to make it working on hot rods. Well, that was, 1987 ago. What's the math on that?
23 plus 25, that's 48 years ago.
48? That's not possible. 38.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, 38.
Okay, so I've made it, Van. We're still pushing. We're still making it work.
All right, so real quick, thanks to everybody that came out and bought T-shirts. We had, I think, 163 T-shirt sales or something like that throughout like the course of like 3 days, basically, of track setup. So that's really good. So T-shirts were sold. If you guys want some, we've got everything from mine to Dad's to Mika's shirts.
Right there.
AlexTaylorRacing.com/shop. But thanks to Anastasia Bolander. She is daughter of one of the Peak crew, and they had the trailer set up all week, so she manned that booth and made it all happen. So yeah, thanks for coming and buying some T-shirts.
that was one tough week. Even though it was only technically 4 days of racing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like 4 months of racing.
See, and that's funny because I didn't feel that way.
But she's the only one. She said, this went quick. I'm like, are you sick? What is wrong with you? Everybody I talked to, so that provoked me to ask everybody. So was this a quick week or a short week? I mean, a long week, and it was a long week.
Everybody did say that, but usually that's how I feel. But by the end of this one, I was like, oh, that was kind of quick. That went smooth. But
We didn't really have that much work on the car. We changed gear vendors twice. That was some of our trouble. So one night in the parking lot at the hotel, instead of going to have a steak, which was planned,
yeah, it was.
we were really looking forward to it. I decided tonight is the night to pull the gear vendor and change it out. We were able to drive on the gear vendor, but when she tried to launch, it just it wouldn't go anywhere. In the parking lot and clean the car up because it had been through 100 miles of rain and it was dirty.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad now.
Well, because I wiped for 3-4 hours on it with wet rags. I mean, it was horrible. Then we come out the next day and it was just covered with water.
Yeah.
And it rained on the way to the track that day.
Yeah, we got a lot of rain this week, but it was pretty good. Monday, I'd say Monday was long. That's the longest day to me. That's just because we couldn't get a pass. And then Tuesday was good. Tuesday was a one and done, but it was long for me because we had the peak crew out and they had about 25 people from corporate, and I did a show and tell. I went over to their booth, told them what Drag and Drive was, stood over there for about an hour, and then walked my little ducklings along to the
You should have
impound.
seen this. So I'm sitting waiting because I have nothing to do. When she's gone doing her things, which was peak is very important to us, obviously, and to this whole Drag and Drive thing. She's over there doing that, and I look up, and here comes Alex walking around. Okay, good, we're going to get back busy. And I look behind her, and it looked like Mama Duck with her babies. There was literally 25 shirts.
25 people.
I mean, corporate people that know nothing about drag racing, most of them.
Which is why they were out there.
They're following her along, and she stops and tells she's Alex the instructor, which is pretty cool because that's some big wigs from a big company,
Yeah,
and
so-
we really appreciate them.
Yeah, it was cool getting to show him. I was like, this is Keith Turk. If you do something wrong, he'll yell at you right now.
Yeah, he'll make you cry.
So, anyways, he was sitting there, but we did that. So that was a long day for me just because we did a lot of talk. Like, I did a lot of talking. Cordova, that was Cordova, right? I think so.
No.
Union Grove.
Yeah.
Union Grove. Union Grove always
Great
has
Lakes.
Great Lakes.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, okay. No, Great Lakes and Union Grove are different.
No, Great Lakes is the name of the track in Union Grove.
What's the one?
Tri-State is the one in Earlville.
Oh, I was thinking Cordova. Yeah, okay. So Union,
Cordova's Cordova.
whatever. Doesn't matter. Day number 2. A lot of fans out there. That's always a good one. Monday was crazy at Byron. Tuesday was real crazy at Union Grove.
Union Grove, for some reason, I feel good
Yeah.
at Union Grove. It's a really strange track. You burn out uphill. So it's a whole different procedure. The motor's loaded down because you're literally climbing a grade. But the track's always on point. The track people are always so friendly and good to us. We just love being there.
Yeah, that's a good one, but I stood and talked. I just talked a lot that day. I did a lot of talking. Thankfully, it was a one and done because we did a lot of talking. But a lot of Savoys, mini Savoys came by, the Hot Wheels Savoys. We signed a lot of those. That was cool. But Tuesday was long. Wednesday was long. I guess it was a long week. Wednesday was only long because we hurried and changed everything over and then ran a pass, fixed some stuff, and then waited on the rain. It was just a weird day.
And it didn't count. Wednesday was a rain out. So anyway, I'm personally glad the week's over. It seemed like a week of hell to me. We started out Monday bad. That ruins the week because we knew we were behind. I would give it up, but somebody come along and said the fans came to see you guys. It's like, that's true. I don't think about being somebody that would have fans. So back in the day, if we were just people out there racing, we probably wouldn't have went on because we were so far behind. There was no catching up. But we stayed because of you guys.
We had all of our partners there too, like because they are cross partners.
Mickey Thompson,
VP and Summit and Peak and everybody. So it's like, okay. Plus it is fun. Iski. Well, he was only there 2 days. I could have left after that.
So as far as staying for benefit of the race, it was kind of a waste of time. But we got to test.
We still got awards.
We
and
did.
we got test, which we can get into that. But real quick, sorry. I said at the beginning of the week, pulling a Bailey, because remember when Bailey dropped out on day 1 of sick week. But I will give Bailey, like, to his point, I talked to Aiden about this at awards. I'll give him a lot of crap about it. But after he runs a 22nd time, because he had to turn that in, he didn't have a pass, well then you literally can't come back from that. With our 8, there was a slight chance we could, but it's like Aiden and I were talking, he's like, people don't get it. We have to come back after a week of racing and like refresh and everything. He's like, it's expensive, and like they didn't have a chance. So I said we pulled a Bailey.
And Bailey wanted to go race other things, so it made sense for him to not finish the week. But that's, everybody's referring to it as pulling a Bailey, and we didn't want to be Tom Bailey.
But I do get where he's coming from.
Yeah, it's tempting because the car could have been fresh and ready to go.
If we ran a 20, I think I would have pulled Bailey.
Yeah, but that's really hard to, justify, keep going.
But we did get some new hardware to go on the shelf. You can have this one because that's probably your favorite. I
Pretty
like that
cool.
one. I think that's my favorite. I didn't realize we won this. We got 3rd place in unlimited iron. We were 4th overall with like 20 mile an hour on. So, maybe 15.
So unlimited iron has really become the new unlimited class. I think 2 or 3 years in a row, this thing's been won by unlimited iron, not unlimited. So it's pretty cool.
It's even been other classes that have won it because like...
Yeah, but I'm quoting them.
Oh, is that what they said?
They said, I think the 3rd year in a row that the overall winner came out of unlimited or something.
Oh, for 6.
Unlimited iron.
Yeah, okay.
So the unlimited iron it almost went away, that class did. They kind of called it the Joe Berry class to begin with. He was really the only one that fit in it. That's a heavy steel car, which basically is built like an unlimited Pro Mod car, but has major disadvantages. So originally it was a Joe Berry class, and they worried about it going away because there wasn't enough cars. Well, now it is kind of the class to be in.
It's got more, like, some of the
real cars
competitive stuff.
and fast cars.
Yeah, and other classes are starting to get them, but unlimited is the one you got to worry about going away now. You don't really see a lot of
Not many unlimited cars.
But we got 3rd in unlimited iron, which is cool. 4th overall, but this one's probably the coolest one.
Quickest Chevy,
A lot of
because
Chevys.
that means a lot to us.
Which the way that is structured is it's the quickest Chevy engine in a Chevy car.
Yeah, so there's some quicker Chevy car engines, but they're in a lot different aerodynamic car.
Yeah.
So we're pretty happy with that. Quickest 55 Chevy.
Quickest
Blue 55 Chevy with gold wheels.
and pink parachutes.
You see how that works? We can keep going. Quickest gold wheel 55 Chevy with a
parachutes.
something. Pink parachutes.
And, yes,
So that's the way
stickers.
awards are done a lot nowadays, micro awards, but this is kind of generalization there, Chevy.
Yeah, that one's a cool one because
Oh.
it's a
Legit
very
Chevy.
simple big block Chevy engine. But I know you're gonna go do a video after this, but I got to go.
Head out of here.
Okay.
Get out of here. Glad don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split
I
you.
knew where he's going with that. I got a plane to catch. I got to go.
So that wasn't exactly the video that I intended to make today, but it's getting late. I had to have something for you guys. I didn't want to wait till Thursday to put another video out. So we jumped on this one this morning, try to recap the week that I never made a single post during the week. I was just too busy and kind of depressed from Monday's bad start, and it just never catches up. So this morning I decided to do this video, and I used my microphones. And I guess since it's been months since I used them, somewhere in the process mine got knocked out of whack, and the volume was so loud on it, as you heard in this video, because I had to include some of it, my microphone is clipping or sounding really bad, really loud. I apologize for that, but it was either that or nothing. So I tried to voice over as much as I can and put a little music to it, but that's the best I can do today. And I wanted to just kind of go over the week and the event in general. We do a lot of drag and drives and have done a lot of drag and drives, and I have to say that this is my favorite one. And I think Debbie and Meg and Alex, we all agreed that there's just something different about Six Summer. We really enjoy the location up there in Illinois and Iowa and Wisconsin. I couldn't get it out. The scenery is just the best. I mean, for me and for us, we love the scenery, the houses, the trees, the land, the grass. It's also green and pretty. The temperature, the people. I mean, we just drive along and we look at the houses and it's like, look at that. That's beautiful. There's nothing that we saw in Sweden that looked any more picturesque or pretty, or the background was any better than what we saw up here in the north. And you know, we kind of looked at it differently. I think maybe because Alex and I had just been to Sweden and we're looking at the terrain and the different houses and stuff more than we normally would here. You know, a lot of times we have our blinders on and we're just looking down the road. It's kind of an experience or an education in slow down and smell the roses, because you miss a lot when you don't look around. And we took the time to look around. None of these roads that we were on, or not many of them, were really a high-speed road. They were back roads, lots of country roads with lots of farmhouses. And besides just the pretty area and the nice houses and what have you, like Lake Geneva, we went through there and we all agreed to, when we stopped for gas, we're all like, we could vacation here. This place is beautiful. Who would ever think about going to Wisconsin for vacation? We've never ever even thought about that. But it's such a beautiful place, and it looks so inviting that we actually kind of talked about it, probably jokingly. We would go, but probably never have the time to do it. But we want to see it again. But besides the, like I say, the terrain and the towns and what have you, the people. Drag Week used to be like this years ago. We would go through these little towns, there'd be people sitting out on the street in their lawn chairs and holding signs up and wanting you to do burnouts or just, you know, saying welcome or whatever. It was like that the whole week. The people up there through all these little towns were so inviting and so happy that we were super excited that we were in their towns, and it was very welcoming. And like there at Lake Geneva, we stopped at a gas station, and while we were there, she called Nick because we were wanting Nick to call Kai Kelly. And I had some theories, and Alex has some theories, and Nick has some theories on what to do to make this thing work on the super sticky track that we just screwed up on Monday. And so Alex was on the phone with Nick, I believe. Meg was probably texting Kai. But whatever the case, we're standing there and a cop car pulls up. I think, oh boy, this don't look good. Lake Geneva, this is high rent district. This guy's probably not wanting us to be there. I hope he doesn't pick the car to death. You know, it's got wheelie bars on it and, you know, no mufflers basically. And the cop, what'd he stand there? Probably an hour?
We were there about an hour, yeah.
So we stood there, and as soon as I got to where I could get near him, he was talking to Debbie. And I never know what a police officer is going to say. But I get near him and I say, it was her. She did it. Arrest her. Get her out of here. Put her in handcuffs. And he laughed, and I could tell he was in good spirits. And he talked to us for an hour, and one of his buddies pulled up in another car. So we've got two cop cars. We're sitting in the gas station blocking a whole lane, and these cops are crooked in front of us like they're going to arrest us and put us in handcuffs. They were the coolest guys ever. They just talked cars the whole time. We never have any trouble with the police. They turn their head, or they just don't get, you know, really particular about the particulars. They just kind of let us go. They know we're not hurting anybody. And in a lot of the towns, they set up streets where you can do trailer burnouts. You'll see Alex's first trailer burnout, just a little one in this video. We don't normally do it because she doesn't want to get in trouble. She doesn't want to show off. We do burn. She does John forces on the drag strip. But this particular one, we had to go through their water box. They had the water set out. Usually you can just pull out on the road and go. But as people were doing trailer burnouts, they were stopping you. It wasn't a very long area to do a burnout. They were stopping you, and one of the local disc jockeys was, sticking his microphone in the car and asking you where you were from and what have you. So they Alex called it peer pressure. She said they had a lot of peer pressure on her. So she went ahead and did a little trailer burnie, put a little rubber on the front of the trailer. It was fun. And she'll probably do more now that she's got her feet wet, because she really did enjoy it. And the car will obviously annihilate the tires. She's just idling this big old thing on, no boost, naturally aspirated, but heck, the thing's 540 cubic inches, 11-to-1 compression. It's going to do a trailer burnout on mud grip tires. To take time to give credit where credit's due. And first of all, that's Tom Bailey and Allison, his wife. They put this all together. This is kind of their backyard where they live, and they just did a phenomenal job. We enjoyed the stops. The shorter routes make it where we can actually enjoy. Sometimes we have to run up to the checkpoint, and Alex jumps out with the car running and takes a picture, and we get it back in the car and we head out. This time we were actually able to get out, park the car more than once. 3 or 4 times, maybe more during the week, and sit there and talk with people and sign Hot Wheels for the Savoy and hats and t-shirts, and the people were waiting there for us. It's just exceptional. And the shorter routes give you time to actually enjoy it and interact, and we really enjoyed that. But so Tom and Allison, thank you. It was awesome. We've got all our lane people. We have for a long time felt like family with these people. When we get there, we're all hugging and shaking hands, and they're all awesome. And I'm gonna try to name everyone, but if I miss you, I'm really sorry. But you start with John Sears. He's at the top of that list. He's the main lane boss, and he keeps things. His ship is tight. He keeps things working, but he's trying to get everybody through there. And we got our buddy Jim that made us a new billet elbow for this car here. I'll show you that when I get done with this. But Sean and Tara, they're just awesome. And their son Matt, we love them to death. They're just like family. They're from Kansas, and they're kind of like hometown people with us. But we got Brian and Palmer and Lexi and Jennifer and Angel. They're all these girls and guys they have a specific job, and they're here every time. They come in and work this stuff, and they're always at sick week, sick summer. A lot of times they're at drag week, so it's just cool. We got Derek and of course Keith and Tanya Turk. They are like drag week personified. Really close to Danny and Lydia. They're just the sweetest, best people. We can't forget our 1320 buddies. When we've got Scott Whitty, and we got Fred. Fred's just it's always Fred's birthday. We've been with them since 2013, I guess. Fred's been there that long, hadn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Scott has too.
Yeah, Rudy, yeah.
So we go back. What is that now? That's 12 or 13
12
years.
years.
Yeah.
12 years.
12 years. So we've been around these people forever. It's just like every event is like a reunion. We see them more than we see our own family, and that's absolutely the truth, because we do so much with these people. Reese is their new guy. Talk to a young man that actually is polite, understanding, digs what he's doing, digs the people that are doing it with him. They're just Debbie, who is Keith and Tanya's friend. Debbie works in the office with Tanya during this, and she's always there and always helping with the time slips, and just forget Jonna. She's also in the office with Tanya and Debbie, and it works for Tom. Luke is an Australian, and he had his 40th birthday on this race. Happy birthday, Luke, if you see this. And my buddy Matt Reiki, who's also an Australian. I think that's about it for this episode. I wanted to do something to kind of remember and tell you what we had this week. And Monday killed us basically because we just couldn't make this girl behave. I had tightened the torque converter 2 degrees on the fins. I went from a 52 to a 50 degree fin, same number of fins, and it changed this car's personality so much that we fought it the first day, and we just couldn't. It's not like a test and tune where you can just hot lap and go back and get more passes till you get your favorite pass. You know, if you got the right car and you're in the right class and you can just keep going around in circle, you can, but we can't. So I think we got 2 passes and we just couldn't make the thing work. We just went out. You've heard me talk about it before. What we had, the issue was we had the bars set up for like Chicago, more of a NHRA prep. And when I say that, that's instant center and all the 4-link terminology that you've heard. We had it set up to where it had too much bite. Boom. When she let the button out, normally, like you'll see in the little clip, or you saw in the little clip here on pass 2, we call that pass 2, but that was just pass 2 of that day at Byron, the last day, in fact. But on that pass, it carries the front wheels, 6, sometimes 8 inches off the ground, way past the 60-foot mark. The wheelie bars will touch and then they'll let up and it'll just kind of float there. The first day, the track was a radial track from the day before. They had a radial race the day before we got there and that night. And the track owner told us that you're not going to get down this track. He said it's just sticky. So we tried it. It dead hooked the slick. We didn't have time to change the bars. It dead hooked the slick, meaning that the slick didn't spin. On a slick, you have to have what's called wheel speed. You're basically spinning the tire as you're moving forward. You don't want it to go up and smoke, obviously, but you don't want it to dead hook. So when you've got so much glue on a track, and she lets her button out at 4,500 launch, and at the boost she's making, she's leaving on whatever, 13, 14, 15 pounds to move this heavy thing. She's in the 700 to 800 horsepower range probably, and it hits that tire, and when the tire's just glued down like fly paper, the tire just wrinkles up and the wheel gets close to the ground. The wheelie bars hit hard. The front tire never comes off the ground. Think about it. The back tire just wads up, and as soon as it does all of that, then it breaks traction. Once you wad that tire up like this rag on the track, so look at it this way, that if that was a tire and that tank is a track, you got a lot of contact surface. But once you do this and you wad that tire up, that tire doesn't have much contact surface. It's a bunch of bumps that are planted to the ground. So it immediately loses traction, and when it loses traction, it goes up in smoke. And then you pedal and the thing throws all the power back at it, and you smoke it again and again. And that's what we fought on day one. We just had too much bite in the car. So I did change the bars, took bite out of the car, and it went right down the track. So when we went to Great Lakes, right? Great Lakes, or whatever they call it, the Great Lakes.
Great Lakes, yeah.
Great Lakes was a good track. It was prepped properly. You could walk out there. It was like semi-gloss black. It wasn't shiny. When the track's shiny, it just doesn't work for us. When it's just a nice matte black finish and you walk on it and you hear but you don't stick. When you walk on it and it pulls your shoes off, that's great for the radial guys, but it's not so great for us. Great Lakes was prepped perfectly. The bars were changed. She launched the car and it just went right down Broadway, and it worked so well. But there's a difference. One day you got radial prep, the next day you got that, and then the last day where the radial prep was the first day, it rained. So it rained all that night before, and it floated the glue off of the track. So they scraped it. When we went up there to check it out, you could see concrete. I mean, it floated a lot of the glue off, and they scraped it, and then they put more glue and they drag it, trying to get a surface back for everybody, something that works for everybody. Well, I could have, if I'd had time and we wanted to try it. Alex really didn't want to try it because we needed a one and done, and I could have probably put the bite back in and it probably would have done us even a better time, but it still worked okay. She got down the track on the second pass. You see on the first pass she didn't, and the way she got down was after she smoked the tires on that first pass that's in this video, that it says first pass, she came back immediately hot lapped, and this car just doesn't want a hot lap. The transmission gets hot. The fuel. They told us that the lanes would stay open for however long it was, so she was already aware of that. She just turned and came right back in the lanes. The transmission was smoking, so while I knew what she was going to do, when she drove off the track at the other end, I went back to our trailer, which fortunately was right through a gate in the fence, or a hole in the fence, and I was able to walk over to our pit. I grabbed our Milwaukee leaf blower, come take the nozzle off of it, set it up in the car, turned it on, and just let it sit there blowing air over the transmission, which doesn't really help, but it makes you feel better because you are blowing some cool air over it. I did that, and I gas jug. I brought her laptop. I brought the Milwaukee battery and the converter to put it to 110, because inevitably, if I'd have just brought the laptop, the battery would have been dead. I knew what we clicked. I knew what she was going to do. I saw her while I was gathering the stuff up at the trailer fly by me, and she went right back in the lane. So I carried all that stuff over, the blower on the transmission, handed her the laptop and the charger, and she couldn't hear because the cars were so loud. So she sits down in the back, puts her laptop on the wheelie bar. That's what you see in the video. And she gets on the phone with Nick just to confirm what she was wanting to do. And she pulled a ton of timing out of it, 12 degrees, I think. So it went out there and let the button out, and it left. And I'm thinking, boy, I hope that continues to work. And I see just a little haze off of the back tire, probably when she shifted to second gear. And that's where, if it hazes the tires, it can very well go up in smoke, and then the run is junk again. Track at a 675 at 214, I believe. So it was down on mile per hour. It was down on ET, but it wouldn't change our position in the class because we had such a bad pass. She turned in a 814 on day one. 814 at 204, 5, or 6 miles an hour. So a ridiculous mile per hour. The difference between a 675 and a 660 wouldn't have changed our position. So we didn't go back. She got the 675, which put us at a 671 on one day, 673, I believe, and a 675. So the car was like a bracket car. It just running 670s. We have a test week coming up with Mickey Thompson. We're going to test for an entire week. We're going up to their factory, going to the Goodyear factory. We're going to have meet and greets and eat with Mickey Thompson big time people, and we're going to test some different setups. And it's going to be strictly just to try to improve, so we don't have to test at the drag race. You know, we're always held up with that. This engine did fantastic. I can't tell you, the spark plugs come out of this every time, and I've got little plastic holders that Nick printed for me. I had some, they happen to be laying here. I made some out of aluminum, just drilled them, numbered them, and I kept those. They're heavy. I had Nick one time, and he said, yeah, I can make some. So he made me 3D printed. This thing weighs nothing, but I carry one that's split. So I put one on this side. When I pull the plugs out, I put them in the order. I actually reuse spark plugs. I don't rarely ever reuse spark plugs, but the race plugs, I don't read them anymore. I used to read them every pass for ever since I did this intake modification. I haven't been pulling spark plugs and reading them, because when I pull them, they all look the same every time. All 8 of them look so close to the same. Everything is so balanced, and it's because of what I did up here. This changed our program so much. So now we don't concentrate on the motor. She didn't tune anything on this engine all week, or I didn't tune it at sick week. She didn't tune it on Chicago. All we're doing is suspension, and the engine stays the same, the transmission stays the same. It works perfect. I mean, it comes back. I've got 3 puke tanks that I drain, and I get, honestly, about the lid of a Coke bottle of water that accumulates because of the heat. You know, it's just condensation. I don't drain oil out of it. Another thing that's super important to us All I did during the week was add about a quart of oil, and I did that on the last day, and there was 100% no reason to do it other than I wanted to pour it so Meg could do a video with the Pennzoil bottles, and it didn't hurt to have it in there, but it was absolutely not necessary. I drained 0 oil out of the puke tanks, which that never happens on this thing before. It usually pumps oil into the puke tanks because of all the windage in the crankcase. The oil stayed clean. It's crazy when it's running and it's cycling the oil through the tank. I take the lid off. That's how you check the oil. You look in there visually just to see where it's at. And I look in there and it's like, I can see through that oil still. It's dark if you see the mass quantity of it, but if you look in one of the jugs of brand new oil, it's dark as well. Not quite this dark, but the oil is not contaminated with fuel like it used to be. We're not overpowering the rings on the cylinder walls. They're able to scrape the oil off. The combustion chambers look better. The spark plugs have no sign of oil on them. So the dry sump just worked fantastic. The pressure stayed up, over 100 pounds. Alex can tell you, but she's not here. But it was always over 100 pounds on a run. It always maintains oil on the turnout. Going down the road, we never see less than, like, when it's super hot at a stop sign on a drive, we've been driving, we'll see 25 at idle. That's pretty standard for a big block, and this one's got a lot of clearance compared to a stock one. So the oil pressure is always awesome. As soon as you start driving with that 25 pounds, as soon as you get some RPM in it, it goes up to 45, 50 pounds going down the road. The transmission's still good, the motor's still good, everything's still right. We're going to Mickey Thompson test next, and then we're going to be at Drag Week. Hope to see you at one of them. With all that said, there's one more important thing I need to do, and that's thank all of you people that watch these videos. You came all week and told me how much you appreciate the videos, how much you like them, and you're just unbelievably supportive and nice. So for all of you people that are watching this and all of you that come to the drag strip, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You make it worthwhile. So you're very much appreciated and a part of what we do.